live. And I have got questions for you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What opens with touchdown in Barcelona, and what closes with a tackle by a bald-headed biatch, according to some. That's not my words. I'm just quoting the people. If you guessed, the Real Housewives of Atlanta living La Villa Loca, La Villa Loca, then you're correct. Season 10, episode 13. Thank you so much for clicking on the video or joining in live. Hi! It's like you came in with a like. How you do that? Where they do that at? Thank you so much for joining live or watching the video and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. We're right at the beginning. Let us proceed. Okay, so we're in España and we're touching down in Barcelona, and we're going to lunch because the space that they're going to be staying in, the villa, will not be ready until later. Now, I remember one time, this is totally off the subject, but it reminded me, I remember one time, I don't know where I was traveling to, but it was international travel, and by the time I got to the hotel, I was so tired that I was falling asleep almost as I was walking. Like, I don't think I've ever been, hey, Strange Black Media, I don't think I've ever been that tired, but I was like literally like standing up, falling asleep, tired. And our hotel room, you know, it was like a late check-in, so it was kind of like, you know, it was kind of like, I was glad that I was not by myself, because it's like I'd have been, you know, you could have just snatched me up and I'd have been anywhere because I was exhausted. So, but they don't seem exhausted. They seem Day. Oh, hey, Day. They seemed, you know, they seemed here for it, you know. They looked a little bit like bag ladies or whatever, but they were cool. So they're going to lunch, and 50 Cent, Cynthia has a 50 Cent bucket list challenge for the trip. You know, she's got some things that she wants the ladies to choose to do, like pinch a strange man's butt. And Candy's like, no, I'm only pinching my husband's butt. And then shower with a stranger. And Sheree, Sheree is like, these girls do that all the time. Eat foreign delicacies. Nene is like, well, Candy, and I don't know who else she was calling fat or whatever. They eat everything or whatever. Dance in public. And switch personalities, and Shamia is like, oh, I'm gonna do that, you know. We get to Marlo. Oh, there's some talk about Marlo's etiquette class. So Marlo has an etiquette class. Now, I didn't have a strong opinion, but I guess as I've reflected on it, I'm like, she's the one who was burping. I think sometimes she's trolling us, trolling the people to get us to react and engage with her so she can try to get that peach. And Candy's like, oh, you going to an etiquette class? Like, that's good. And Marlo is like, no, I'm teaching. Candy like, you teaching, girl, bye. You can't teach me nothing about etiquette. Then Shamia asked about Kenya and Kim. And they're like, somebody is like, well, didn't you see they weren't on the plane? Now, any of us who have watched any of these reality shows know that people are liable to come later on. Shoot, don't be getting on my girl Shamia for that. She was looking just so chocolate during the whole episode. I don't know why, but I'm always curious. Like, I wonder, are these people, you know, light skinned, how do they look in real life? Because, you know, with lighting and everything, sometimes it's kind of difficult to like get a real take on stuff. Not like it matters, but you know, it matters to me in my weird obsessive mind. And shoot, growing up, I was always like, in my head, I was like, there are light-skinned people and there are dark-skinned people. I didn't really have a concept or a grasp of like, you know, the variations in between. And I'm still kind of like that. Like, you know, I think my perception of color when it comes to black people is like very skewed and very, you know, I'm just like, I'm the blackest of the black, and you know, other people are really, really light skinned. I don't have, you know, when people are like, oh, they're caramel, they're mocha frita, they're, you know, people have a million different, like, I guess in Brazil, they have like 800 names for people's colors. In New Orleans, Nala, they have a whole bunch of different names, I guess, or they used to, but I don't know nothing about that. I just know they dark or they light. So Shamia, so, you know, Kim is like, you know, they like, oh, they, you know, they're not coming. Kenya and Kim are not coming. And Nene is like, Kim has had cancer. She's had thyroid. She's had blood clots. She's had stroke. She's had open heart surgery. And she's still mad. She should be happy. I'm not really clear what Nene's point was, except that I feel like her point was to bring attention to the fact that Kim claims to have a lot of health issues, because she was like, she should be happy, but she just mad. She should be mad because she done had all these health issues, but she says she happy. I didn't follow. Did you follow what? But I feel like her point was to bring out the fact that, you know, this woman has a lot of, I don't know if excuses, but explanations why she, you know, and I guess she tweeted yesterday or something, or whenever, I guess it was yesterday, you know, well, I made sure it wasn't in my contract. Look, I'm giving her attitude and tone, like you can tell on a tweet how somebody said it, that I didn't have to go on trips. Did I see that? Like, and I already knew she wasn't going on no trips. I mean, I'd be shocked if with them, I'd just be shocked. So Portia is like, she didn't have cancer. You know, she's had it all, Nene. Portia, she didn't have cancer. Then we see a flashback to Croy's wife saying that the doctor told her that she may have cancer, but she doesn't have cancer. She seemed to have it, but she didn't, or something. I couldn't really follow all of that either. And I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm just saying that, I'm not saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. I'm not saying she's a liar, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand. So yeah, right? Yeah. So something, but the group is shady. I just try to do what modeling. Oh, Eva is like, you know, yeah, somebody is like, oh, Eva, I hope you're okay with, you know, being around us and you don't get the wrong impression, as if Eva hasn't seen the Housewives on TV. And if she's not a regular watcher, which a lot of people are, so I'm surprised sometimes when people, like when Lady Obama was like, oh yeah, I watched the Housewives. It was like, oh, I don't know why, because she a human being too. And the same thing that appeal, you know, but we want her to be more high-minded, but we can be high-low. But so even if she don't watch the show, even if Eva was not a watcher, if I'm gonna be on the show, I'm gonna watch it. And, you know, I'm gonna binge watch a couple seasons. I'm gonna do some research, you know. So we know she know that the women are shady. But Eva's like, so she got her lines together. She's like, well, this group is shady. And at another point, she like, well, you don't need an umbrella with this group because they're shady. So she done, you know, planned out a couple of lines for her. And she said, I just try to do my modeling thing and use my Zoolander face. I just look at them and try to stay beat at the same time. And it was kind of like, okay. So that's another like planned line. Okay. She's cute. And she definitely has that, you know, you can tell that she's been, you know, used to being photographed and knows, you know, her angles and, you know, she's conscious in a way that, you know. Okay, so the ladies are excited about lunch when they get to the place. They're like, ooh, it seems like they're in a hotel suite and there's like hors d'oeuvre things out. But I guess if you put a whole bunch of hors d'oeuvres together, it's like a meal, but it's not like a restaurant or anything. They really like the environment. They're taking pictures. Again, we get to see Eva, you know, other people taking their selfies. They like, hey! Eva's like, hey, you know, like, it's like you could tell, or to me, maybe I'm like just buying into the hype because she was on America's Next Top Model and she just looked different because of that. But she looked like she had a little scarf draped and she was doing the thing. Candy announces to the ladies, I have news. Nene is going on tour with me. She'll be the hostess and she'll get to do comedy. You know, that's something she's working on. And I thought it would be good for her to have an opportunity to do arenas. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a fan of Nene, like her personality or whatever. It's kind of like, I don't care for it. Hey, welcome in the chat. Good morning, Dune 226. But I do kind of feel bad, like watching it. I kind of felt like, oh, womp womp. Because y'all know, you know, she went on tour and, you know, somebody said something to her in the audience. And she said something like, I hope your Uber driver raped you, or, you know, and she done lost that job. I just feel like, I feel bad for her. Like, you know, I guess I even want to see Nene win, you know, even though she's kind of like, You know, but I don't want to see her lose. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to see nobody lose. I felt bad. But anyway, you know, at this time, they didn't know when they were taping it. And Nene is like, yeah, she want a room with me, but I told her to keep her hands to herself. And Candy is like, y'all trip me out trying to act like I am the only one who dipped my toe in the lady pond. And then the group chats with Eva about her boyfriend. Oh, you know, so what's your, oh, my boyfriend, he's running for mayor of Atlantis. Name is Michael Sterling or whatever. And I have a child, but her father hasn't been involved. He's like the sperm donor, but this guy that I'm dating, he's been her daddy since the day we started dating. I was kind of like, oh, how long have they been dating? I mean, that, but anyway. And then their future, her sperm donor baby daddy, and Shamia is like, so how does your boyfriend feel about you dating women? Or something Shamia asked about her and women. And Eva's like, come again? And then we go to commercial. Then we come back and, you know, it's like, dump, dump, dump when we go to commercial. And I think Shamia was just, you know, she trying to, you know, in the recipe for the shows is you got to get into some drama. Something has to happen for people to be like, I'm team Shamia, or I hate Shamia, or, and she's kind of been more or less, you know, I don't think she's like inspired the passions of the people. I guess if they just hire you straight out, like Eva didn't have to audition. She ain't have to go on a cattle call. But Shamia has been like auditioning for a while. So she trying. And, you know, when we come back from commercial, Eva is like, you know what? And Shamia is like, oh, you know, I read on a blog that you dated Missy Elliott. And Eva is like, no. And then, you know, I don't even know what happened. But anyway, no, she didn't date her. It don't turn into no big fight. Marlo is like, well, we don't care. We just want to know. I'm like, okay. And then Candy is like, they, you know, they're going back and forth about, you know, having sex with people or whatever. And Candy is like, well, you'll know when I knocked off Cynthia, because she gonna defend me like she defend Will. And, you know, we all laugh, ha, 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 ha. And then Eva is like, well, the other night did get kind of messy. And, you know, my apologies. And, there's a whole conversation about Will and Cynthia, boo. I guess I'm kind of like over it. Like, I feel like, y'all said what you said. Now she gonna do what she gonna do. I don't know why we keep talking about it, but they talk about, you know, whether he's cheating or not cheating, or had a girlfriend or didn't have a girlfriend, and when is the exact time of the termination of that relationship and the initiation of this relationship. And yeah, so you know, Cynthia's like, we have a history of Portia telling me things about my husband that were not true. And then we have a flashback to Portia saying, you know, your husband's waitresses were being paid. See how your husband's waitresses are being paid? They're being paid full of penis. And that whole thing, to me, that theory, like, I feel like going the other way around. Like, if I was a woman and I wanted to pay a man with vajayjay, I think that would, like, you know, be a better... I think a man would be more receptive to being paid in vajayjay than a woman would be receptive to being paid in penis. If I'm out here waitressing and hustling, you got to give me some money. You know, women get with men if we, you know, on base levels for material support. So anyway, that whole, when she said that 18 years ago, I was like, that's dumb. I don't believe that, you know, now the waitresses may be trying to give him some vajayjay to come up in the business and to be like the child on the Housewives of Potomac, who, you know, started as a bartender and then she married the owner, the Australian guy. They might be trying to use their vajayjay to come up. But no, you're not going to pay me in penis. No, you know, I'm like, I don't think it's very many women who would go with that arrangement. So she sounded dumb to them. Or, you know, I was like, I'm not buying that story then. I'm not buying it now. Cynthia's like, we're going to do a little south sightseeing before we check into our villa. And, you know, on the bus, they talk about teabagging. I did not know what teabagging was, but now I know. I guess I'm getting, you know, my education through, you know, the television. So they talk about teabagging, and then as part of the, you know what, you watch the show. And then you could probably Google it too. As part of the 50 Cent Bucket List Challenge, they're at like a cathedral or some, you know, monument, like a building that's like, oh, it's a wonderful building or whatever. And then they're like, well, before we go, you know, since we can't go in, and Portia's like, you didn't even know what time the place was open. We can't go in. We came all the way here not to go in. Y'all just wasting time till you can get to the villa. Really. Now, it could have been better organized, but, you know. But as part of the 50 cent bucket challenge, I think Marlo is like, well, somebody has to do something from the challenge. And then Shamia is like, okay, I'm going to dance in public. And she's like, like doing her thing. And I couldn't figure out, I mean, she looked okay to me. Like, I didn't know she was supposed to be a dance. Like, I don't think she was supposed to be a dancer. Like, I think she was trying to do like liturgical dance, and she looked fine. At the end, Nene is like, where I used to dance as a stripper, she wouldn't get no money or whatever. And it's like, that's a whole different vibration. But they had shots, I couldn't tell from the editing if it was good or bad, because they had shots of people looking, and some people were like looking, and some people were frowning, and some people were like taking pictures or, taking video. And probably you don't know if the people were taking video, thank you for the like, because they're like, well, they got cameras on them, so they're probably somebody famous, so let me get video. I couldn't really figure it out. But at the end of Shamia's dance, the ladies go around and they're asking people to make donations, and the people, nobody makes a donation that we can see. But we've seen video, we've seen footage of famous people going into the subways of New York or wherever and singing, like, I'm a famous singer, I'm Beyonce, but they get out on the street and they act like they just a regular person, and people just walk by them, and nobody, like, I think they've had like one of the 3 tenors who's supposed to be this wonderful, and nobody gave them any money. And, so some of the fame and excitement is the people being told, this is a wonderful singer. This is Beyonce. If you saw Beyonce on the street singing and dancing, you'd be like, move out the way, I'm trying to get on the train. I don't want to see this singing, or you on the train and she's singing, you probably be like, some people would probably be like, oh, but most people be like, I'm trying to get my mind right to go to work or whatever. So anyway, I felt like they kind of made Shamia look a little foolish. But, I guess we all play the fool when we are on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? So we see Cynthia, okay, so we already talked about that. We see them arriving at the villa. There's some people who do like a flamenco dance or something when they get there. So it's kind of weird to me, like they get in through the gates, but they still have their bags and stuff. They can't put their bags down, and then the people do the dance. I'm like, I would have preferred if I had been able to put my stuff down and relax, and then y'all could do a dance. But, I guess this is like welcoming them into the entrance of the villa. This is a villa that the child, good morning, Frank G, that the child, not the child, but, Mama Cynthia had researched and, thought it looked so beautiful online. And the people get there and, they're not really all that impressed with it. They don't like the space. They feel like the luxury factor is like really, really low. Candy is like, when I'm on vacation, I want to live it up. I don't want to be on no budget motels. And Sheree is like, this at 20 would have been kind of cute, but I'm a grown budded woman, so this is not cute. The classic room. Oh, and then there's like the classic scramble for rooms. So I'm thinking that production had this happen because, part of the drama of trips had, like when we first started the show, it was always like, who's going to get the big room and this ain't nice. And, it was like, that was like part of the drama. And then here recently, it's just been like, oh, these rooms are so nice and everybody's happy. So I guess they're trying to create more drama. Because I don't believe that it's like a spontaneous, like Cynthia really went and organized the, researched the villa. I don't believe that. So anyway, there's a classic thing. Candy has a room. The room that Candy gets, right. The room that Candy gets is like, seems to be the master suite. It has like a living room and a balcony, and somebody else tries to get it, and then Candy's like, no, that's my room. And then the person who, like Sheree, had given up her room to Portia, like, oh, you can have my room, I'm gonna take this room. And Candy's like, oh no, this is my room. And then Sheree couldn't get her room back because Portia had it, so Sheree has to go down in the basement. Her and Marlo are in the basement. And then Nene goes to Cynthia, and she's like, well, I feel that the more mature girls should have the rooms on the upper floors. The middle-aged girls should be in the middle. And then the younger women, she didn't say that, should be on the bottom. She's trying to advocate and create an argument for her to get a better room. And Cynthia is kind of like, And then in her interview, she's like, Candy ain't giving up that room. So then Nene brings it to the group. You know, we don't have a lot of time, but I just feel that the more mature women should, and Candy is like, no, I should get a better room. No, I'm not falling for it. And I think that, you know, as more mature women, Candy is like, no, I'm not changing. I'm not changing. You know, every time Nene tries to say something, the child is like, I'm not moving. No, no. You know, she was funny. I was cracking up. And we knew, I didn't think that the child was going to be, you know, moved by Nene. But what I did think was interesting is she used the language of more mature, and then when somebody said you're an elder or you're you know something, it was like Nene got really offended. So I don't know if me being 45, if I said to somebody who's 40 like, well, I'm more mature than you, and then they turned around and said, well, you're an elder, I'd probably just be like, yes, I am your elder, child. Nene's reasoning makes no sense. My old ass don't want to walk up and down them damn stairs. Well, you need to walk your ass up and down them damn stairs. But anyway, she was trying to get the better room. She just came up with the story to try to get her the better room. But it did not work. But she gets really, she gets away about people, referring to her as older when she's the one who brought that into the argument. I didn't really understand that. And Margot tried to instigate. She like, oh, y'all just gonna let Candy punk you, but it doesn't really turn into anything. And then we see Shamia coming to visit Portia, and Portia is working on her Two Can Play That Game script. She's really excited because she has a lot of lines. Her character, she says, is really developed. She's wearing sunglasses, and Portia, Shamia asked her about it, and Portia says that her eyes got infected from eyelashes. When I was in Atlanta, my cousin's wife had those eyelash extensions or whatever, and they looked really, 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 really pretty. But I'm scared, I get, I'm like, the eye infection, I don't know if she really had an eye infection, but I'm like, I'd be scared of stuff like that because of stuff like that. Like, I don't know. But Shamia is like, let me see. And Shamia looks and she's like, I don't see anything. So we don't know why Portia had her eyes covered. They have some conversation about Cynthia and Portia, and Cynthia and Nene and Marlo are having a conversation, and Portia and Shamia are having a conversation. I can't remember what they were talking about, but anyway, Sheree comes into Portia's room, and Shamia is still there, and they complain about the roughness of the towels and how it's not no luxury hotel. And Sheree is like, well, the funny thing is that Croy's wife would have never stayed here. Let's call Croy's wife. So they tell Croy's wife that Kenya's not there, and Croy's wife is like, oh, I should have come. And then they say that Nene said that Croy's wife wouldn't travel without her husband, and she get upset about that. And then Portia's like, I didn't know you were a cancer survivor. That's wonderful because cancer runs in my family. Now, she hesitated to say it, and then she phrased it in that way. I feel like because she was trying to be messy. I don't think it was like sincere or, but anyway. And so the child, Croy's wife is like, now what now? I am not a cancer survivor. I don't know who in the F told you that. And Sheree is like, well, Nene said something to the effect that you the only person who has had thyroid problem, open heart surgery, cancer, and blah, blah, whatever. And then Croy's wife is like, well, she needs to worry about the cockroaches in her house and parking in the handicap. Stand by. Okay, so then we're dinner, the attire is pajamas, so the women are there at dinner. And how did Marlo know? How did Marlo know to bring the wig and the crown? Did Marlo know in advance before they got in the car on the way to the hotel, to the airport, that I feel like production gave her those props. And, during the scene, they kept focusing on the wig. So I feel like... yeah, I was, I was kind of like, I didn't really think it was all that funny, especially because it seemed fake to me, but I don't know. Marlo is willing to, play along. So, they get to dinner, and, Marlo put the wig, a blonde wig on one end of the table to represent Croy's wife, and then she put a crown on the other end of the table to represent Kenya. And Nene comes, and the whole group is there, and she makes Marlo and Portia, she assigns them the job of bartending. I'm like, I'm glad she ain't just assigned me that job, because I'd have been like, they got a full-time staff here. Have them make your drinks. I'm not your Negro. Croy's wife, right? I'm trying not to say her name. She get on my nerves. And Cynthia's like, you hurt Nene's feelings, coming at her for her age. And Portia is like, so mature. So, you know, you use the term mature. I thought you were using the term mature in terms of age, but you using mature to call us immature. I think that's what Portia was trying to say. But that's how I took it, because I'm like, I don't understand. We usually one brought up mature, but we already talked about that. So let's keep moving. And then Shamia is like, well, let one of the elders bless the food, because when the food come out, they like, who gonna bless it? And Shamia is like, let one of the elders bless the food. And then Nene, I'm 0 from 100. I'm 0 to 100 with you, you know, coming at me about my age. And Shamia's like, well, what does 0 to 100 mean? We guess that it means that she goes from, hello, hey, I'm gonna beat you up. You know, I guess she's 0 to 100, you know, it's a new term. I'm 0 to 100, you know, Nene, that's her speciality. And then Marlo tries to argue with Candy about being dry. And then Marlo is selling her etiquette class. And Nene is like, are we done? Now they done had soup. And Nene is like, okay, is dinner over? And Portia's like, no, we just had the soup. And folks start focusing on their phones. You start noticing it. And some people are still talking. And then at some point, Candy is like, uh-oh, you know, Kim going in on your behind. She just sent this text to all of us. And then Portia is like reading, I guess, the text message from Kim. You know, Nene is sick and disgusting. Not just about her making fun of a serious health condition, but the fact that she lives in a roach nest and parks in the handicap zone or whatever. Maybe she said that later, I don't know. And then Candy is like, there's a lag time. Well, Candy says in her interview, well, the last time that Candy came to my house, or that Croy's wife came to my house, she said that I live in the hood and she was scared or whatever. So Croy's wife is not welcome in my house. I understand, Candy. And then Cynthia's like, why, well, how did she find out that we were talking about, you know, blah, 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 blah. And Sheree is like, you know, I told her, you know. And it's also interesting to me from an editing perspective. I guess the cast has now bought into this idea that Sheree is the bone carrier. So nobody ever says anything to Sheree like, well, why would you be telling her, like, are you trying to start mess? Like, no one ever even says anything. They ask the question and they go on. They don't deal with it. It's like she's just doing her job. It's kind of like if somebody opened the door for you and they dressed in a doorman's uniform, I say thank you. But I mean, you just figure they just doing their job. You aren't like, well, why are they opening the door? So I guess it's just like she's the bone carrier, I guess. But it seems like for authenticity, if I was directing, I'd be like, well, somebody needs to, you know, check Sheree about, you know, why are you bringing, you know, why are you calling, we here in Barcelona, Spain, why are you calling the United States to talk about stuff that we talking about here? Wait till you get back for that foolishness and messiness. But, you know, Nene is like, you know, my husband has a handicap sticker, you know, because her husband had a health issue. And she already knew, like, there was something where I couldn't quite figure out the timeline, because Nene had already said to Croy's wife, when you saw me at the mall, you didn't know who I was with. Well, I was with someone who was handicapped. So I knew that was a reference to, you know, you get confused about what's going on in real time and what's going on at the taping. So I was kind of like, you know, So Sheree is like, I think she's mad because she felt like you were making fun of her health. I mean, do you believe that she has health issues? And Nene is like, no. I think that Croy's wife is a liar and an excuse maker. She's a liar and a bald-headed biatch. And then that's the end of the episode. So, now I don't know what kind of, I don't know why we calling people bald-headed when we're grown and when we wear wigs. You know, not me. I don't wear wigs, and I like to shave my head bald. As soon as it gets warm, I'm about to shave my head. But I don't understand why bald-headed is, you know, like that just seems like something like from elementary school. But anyway, I guess that's what, you know, Nene had. And that's the end of the episode. So thank you all for tuning in, like you care. But the people they've landed from South Africa, so they'll be back. I've been hearing all about my people are in South Africa. So I can't wait to see if they smell different and, you know, all of that other stuff. So thank you for watching the review. Thank you, Frank G. Great review. Yay! Recap. So that's it. That's all we got. Thank you for watching the review. Dune226. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to come in and get the content, because the way YouTube got it set up, and we like that. I love watching it, you know, all the stuff on YouTube too. But I surely and certainly appreciate and take and accept payments and likes, comments, subscriptions, shares, and all of that other good stuff. Now, unfortunately, I love your support, Mr. Frank G. Now, or not unfortunately, but you know, the comments on the stream are you know, they don't stay on the video or whatever. But, you know, so y'all who are on the stream, you know, made your comments. You ain't got to go back in and make other comments if you don't feel like it. But that's what I got. Today is the best day ever. Be you. So I am doing notes on the news feed today. I am going to do a hashtag BeFabulousYou on journaling today. And if I get a chance, I think I'm going to do a Making a Motto Lifetime Season 1, Episode 7. Because I don't think anything else came on last night. Do y'all watch Seeking Sister Wife? I watch it for the black couple in Atlanta. But I feel like I kind of want to talk about them, but I don't really have a venue to talk about them. So I just looked at Twitter to see what people were saying. But that show is that's intense. That's something. You know, because I figure grown folks should do what grown folks want to do. If it's consenting adults, hey, have at it, have fun, enjoy. If you want to be in a plural relationship, if you want to, you know, but it looks messy, and like it does not look attractive. But anyway, that's what I got. I'm finished rambling. Today is the best day ever. Be you. I think I have to binge watch that show. I think all of the couples are interesting in a way, but the reason that I tuned in is because there's a black couple from Atlanta. And in Detroit, I know of one couple where, you know, it's like a man and he has multiple wives. And I mean, and they've been together for 20, 30 years. Children are grown, and, you know, but I mean, I just know them from the outside, seeing them in events. I don't know how they work things out in their home. I feel like it's so hard to have a relationship with one person. And then when you add other people in, there's so many different dynamics, you know, like it's not just like 1 + 1 is 2. And then 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. It's like you got 5 or 12 or whatever. But yeah, that's what I got. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Today is the best day ever. Peace. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous.